Please welcome to the stage Dr. Neil Kerwin, President Emeritus of American University, to share more on Jack's induction.
Thank you. I know what you're all thinking. How many pages did he take out of his pocket? In the long history of American University, there is no name more distinguished than Cassell. We've heard tonight about the important contributions that Pop Cassell made that helped provide the foundation of the modern American university. Tonight we recognize the contributions of his son, Jack Cassell, and specifically to our athletics program. But if there was a university-wide Hall of Fame, both Pop and Jack would be inaugural trustees for what they've done and what Jack is still doing to bring our entire institution to the respected place it occupies today and that his father dreamed of. Jack chose AU for college and made the difficult path, balancing his academic work with the demands of intercollegiate athletics. He made the soccer team as a goalie, became a starter in 1976. Though that position, as all of you know, is especially critical, stressful, and sometimes very lonely. His coach, Pete Maylard, remembers Jack with strong skills, great hands, ready to be airborne, to deal with crosses, but above all else, brave and a genuine leader. Those who know Coach Maylard know such praise for him must be earned. A fraternity brother, however, John Rachin, reminds us that Jack's great philanthropy had a harbinger in his undergraduate years. When some of the brothers learned, I assume after long and rigorous research, that an establishment in Georgetown was offering 35-cent pitchers of beer at lunchtime, there's a lot to worry about in that sentence, all right? In any event, Jack offered to buy the first 2 rounds on behalf of his brothers, and then created the first known matching development campaign for beer for the 3rd and 4th rounds. Through this stunning example of giving, Jack was instrumental in introducing several of his brothers subsequently to the finer details of academic probation and university disciplinary procedures. And another important lesson, Jack was not at the lunch. Leave no fingerprints. Jack graduated and began what is now, and still is, a remarkable career in the communications and audiovisual field. As his success grew and his company emerged as the unquestioned gold standard in its field, the core values instilled by his parents and that he demonstrated on off the field of competition were hallmarks of his leadership in business and at AU. Keen intelligence, tireless work, unquestioned honesty, and unshakable integrity define Jack. He's held himself and others to very high standards, but always tempered with acknowledgement of strong performance, empathy, and compassion. Throughout his extraordinary career, he has never lost his determination that the student athletes who followed him here received the coaching and support that advanced their performance, enhanced their academic work, and took care of their overall well-being. In 2003, Jack was appointed to the American University Board of Trustees. With his enhanced influence, he continued to champion our athletics program, working across the university, ultimately touching just every one of our key functions. The trustees drew on Jack's breadth of knowledge and stature when the university suffered a severe crisis of leadership. It threatened our reputation and our standing. The board turned to Jack and two other colleagues to conduct the delicate and often difficult negotiations that ultimately freed us to move on, to reclaim our standing, and to thrive. It was no surprise then when the trustees turned to Jack to chair its board, and during that time, there were many milestones. But as you've already heard, he was chair of this board when the construction and approval of this center was finally approved. I was president for at least 2 of those years when Jack was chair. I'll never forget what I learned from him, his wise counsel, and support during an especially challenging time. Every athletic director who has worked for Jack report they found in Jack a mentor, a generous source of support, someone with high expectations for performance, but again, with a consistent commitment to the well-being of our women and men athletes. Keith Gill recalls when he was a candidate for the AD job and Jack was unable to attend his search interview, Jack took it upon himself to get on a plane, fly to Oklahoma, and meet Keith personally. The committee was convinced, and Jack agreed, that Keith was the man for the job, and as we all know, he certainly was. Now, our immediate past and very accomplished athletic director, General Billy Walker, recalls Jack's high standards being expressed in a different way. When he and Courtney Searles, then our Vice President for Development, who both Courtney and Billy are here tonight, visited Jack to close on a proposed gift, the restaurant where they met had a trademark offer of cotton candy to the diners at the end of their meal. Another high-end establishment, no doubt. Somehow Jack learned that Billy had never had cotton candy, and that Billy had hoped that forever it would stay that way. Jack took exception. For reasons I will leave for you to imagine, he insisted that Billy lift this ban or there would be no gift. Billy drew on the courage of only a helicopter pilot. He took one for the team, ate the cotton candy, the gift arrived, and Billy's dentist is forever in Jack's debt. Our current AD, JM, reports that in his short time, Jack has proven a wise and valued advisor whose aspirations for the AU program and student athletes always expressed itself in tangible ways. Like Keith and Billy before him, JM finds in Jack a generous mentor and advocate. Now, Jack's deep love and commitment to AU are exceeded by only what he feels for his family. They are the source of his strength and his drive for excellence. I think we ought to recognize those who are here with him tonight. Would you please stand, if you can? Jack's family. The Hall of Fame Selection Committee is to be commended for its judgment and expressing the same level of regard so many others have expressed for Jack over the years. The Cassell Hall of Fame becomes an even more distinguished body tonight as I invite Jack Cassell to join me on the stage for presentation of this fine honor.
Good evening, everyone. President Emeritus Kerwin, thank you very much for that very nice introduction. I am totally filled with gratitude tonight as I stand before you. As I look into the audience, I see so many memories in the faces that I look at tonight. I know probably a good 75% of you, and I'm just delighted that you all are here tonight. But first, I will again acknowledge my family, my son Robert, my daughter Jacqueline. Jacqueline is a SOC graduate 2013. Her husband Wes is here. My brother Stafford Jr., Kogod School of Business 77, and his wife Jennifer. My sister Donna and her husband is not able to make it tonight. She's here. And my cousin Dick and his wife Lynn are all here. Thank you for being here for this very special night for our family. I also want to thank my Phi Sigma Kappa brothers for coming out in numbers tonight. Who the best? Yeah! Okay, thank you, brothers. All right, I want to also thank my fellow soccer alumni, fellow Hall of Famers, my friends who are here tonight, fellow board members, President Alger, past President Burwell, Provost Wilkins, the President's Council, former cabinet members, and I should say former athletic directors, Keith Gill and General Billy Walker, Provost Emeritus Scott Bass, former Vice President of Development, Courtney Searles, and former CFO, Doug Kudravitz. Thank you for being here, as well as the entire AU family for being here tonight. Thank you. Also like to give a shout out to Athena Argyropoulos, who wanted to be here with us tonight, but she's had health issues, and I told her I'd give her a shout out, so here you are. She's watching at home. So thank you, Athena. I want to thank the Stafford Pop Cassell Hall of Fame Committee for the nomination and consideration that has me standing before you tonight. Since I'm also giving thanks, I also want to, I don't want to thank them at the end. I want to thank Lindsay Campbell, Beth O'Brien, the athletic department, and everyone who's been involved in organizing this wonderful event tonight. It's not only an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame that's named after my father, but it's particularly wonderful to be inducted with my great friend and fellow trustee, Alan Meltzer, field hockey All-American great, Shelley Montgomery, and track and field great, Will Smith. My congratulations goes out to the three of you on this wonderful night. I'm truly humbled that tonight my name will go beside my father's and so many great coaches and student athletes at American University, several of whom you heard are here tonight. You may have heard about my father's accomplishments. He actually came to AU in 1934 as a student athlete. He later served as coach of 4 sports every season for a few years before he went off to World War II, came back and coached basketball, then became athletic director and was vice president after that when I was a child in a storied career. But I will tell you a little bit about my AU story, my AU journey, because that's kind of why I'm up here tonight, I guess. So my AU journey, and I actually wanted to say to each of you that as I talk tonight for a few more minutes, I wanted you to each think about and cherish your own AU journey and how wonderful that experience has been to you because of this fine university. My journey started as a young child on campus with my brother and sister. We were in between moves from time to time. We lived on campus in between moves. We went to all the sporting events. We just loved hanging out with the coaches and the student athletes. It was a lot of fun, and they all loved my dad. He was quite a man. So I gained a great love for student AU from my dad, and it was really supported by my mom. My dad was always a super dressed guy. When he was coming to work on weekdays, he would dress to the T, and he was just super dressed. But on the weekends, he would bring us kids up to campus with him. We were, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever year was, and then we would wear his letter jacket on the weekends, which was kind of cool. Here it is, the vice president of the university wearing a letter jacket to campus, and we always thought that was cool. But one weekend morning in 1966, my brother and I, age 10, and my sister, age 11, lost our father. He died of a heart attack in the athletic center, Leonard Center, and it was actually, that center was later named in his honor. It was certainly the most devastating moment in our lives, but my mom showed great character over the years that followed. The strength, will, and camaraderie of my brother and sister got me through those very difficult days. But because of my mom and the great friendships that my dad had established, people volunteered to have the Cassell kids come back to campus and make sure they stayed involved with AU athletics, including Hall of Famer Bob Fraley, who was a longtime athletic director, and Dick Taylor, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for my dad. You see, we lived just down the road at Glen Echo, Maryland, and it was easy to take the bus to campus. And my brother and I didn't tell my mom, but a couple of times we would hitchhike, and she would have never liked that too much. But my brother and I were ball boys for the basketball team, and we were bat boys for the baseball team. And we would take road trips on the bus with the AU baseball team from time to time. And we were at age 11, and it was a really fun experience. But even my brother over here will remember and attest to the fact that some of the players weren't exactly mentors for 11-year-olds. We learned how to play poker, and we learned a lot of not so good words. But as time went along, as teenagers, we would continue to hang out at practices and go to games. And it was just actually, as older teenagers, my brother worked in the equipment room in the athletic department. I worked in the bowling alley because we had a bowling alley in Leonard Center. But we developed great friendships with coaches like Bob Karsh, Pete Mailer, Tom Young, and student athletes like Alan Meltzer, Butch Bell, Kermit Washington, and my mentor, who's here tonight, Kirk Kuykendall, all of whom are in this Hall of Fame. They were great role models and had a positive impact on our lives. And then it was time for me to decide, hey, where am I going to go to college? And I had scholarship offers, but I decided, because of the people I just mentioned, and because of my father's history here, that I would attend and play soccer for AU, and I was a starting goalkeeper in my seasons here. Naturally, I was awarded my own varsity letter, and I got my own letter jacket, which was pretty fantastic for a person like me. Everybody else probably thinks, oh, I got a letter jacket, but for me, it was pretty special. But earning my AU diploma was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. You see, I didn't have my dad to be around to be my mentor and role model, but I did, and I was very blessed to have great mentors in my life. In fact, I would say that I'm a living example of why you need mentors in your life. My mom was one of those mentors that I admire most because she led our family after my dad passed. She actually went back and got her master's degree so that she could support our family after my dad died. Her determination and selflessness were really unbelievable. Another mentor of mine, Hall of Famer goalkeeper Kurt Kuykendall, who's here tonight. Kurt, you were a transformational mentor to me. I don't know where my path would have taken me should you not have asked me to come out and train with you this summer before my junior year in high school. But you made the effort every day. You taught me that discipline and hard work pays off and that God's love is everlasting. Thank you, brother. You also bolstered the confidence of a fatherless teenager and gave him hope for the future. Then there was soccer coach Pete Maylert, who's here tonight. He was just starting a program at AU. Coach, you gave me the drive, you set the bar high, and you kept me on track when I was at AU, so thank you for all that. After I went into the working world, I was recommended for my job by Ned Beam, who was the Dean of Students at AU, and then he actually was a soccer coach at AU prior to that. So I went to a job interview at a company called VAE, an events company, and I got hired on the interview, and I started working at the bottom and worked my way up to be president of the company after 10 years. I had Skip McMahon, who it wasn't able to make it tonight, but Skip was a great mentor to me. He showed me the ropes in that business, and we grew a business from 3 offices and 25 employees when I started to a company that was a national power with 86 offices and over 1,000 employees. We provided equipment and services to world leaders and for high-profile events. So I wanted to tell you about those mentors because I wouldn't be standing here in front of you tonight without those mentors, and they had everything to do with AU. So tonight I am really dedicating this honor to those people that I've just mentioned. They have me telling you that I owe AU, yes, I owe AU for the opportunities and the wonderful journey that has been possible because of the wonderful people surrounding AU. So when AU talks about what I've done, I discount it, and because of what AU has done is so very much more for me and my family than I could ever do for AU. In 2003, I would receive one of the greatest honors of my life, as Neil Kerwin said earlier. I was asked to join the board of trustees, and amongst my most wonderful moments at AU was being asked by my fellow trustees to be chairman. However, the most emotional moment was certainly having my daughter and my stepson graduate by me handing them their diplomas from their grandfather, Pop Cassell's alma mater. So now in 92 years, 6 of us, 3 generations, my dad, my mom, my twin brother Stafford, my daughter Jacqueline, my stepson Devin, and I have happily attended and served AU. Finally, thank you for this great honor tonight. I'm truly grateful. And in closing, as I have said many times before, for the first 10 years of my life, I got to watch my dad be the man on this campus, and he was. He was the man. But unfortunately, my life would never have moments where my dad would be there to watch me have AU soccer successes, for me to wear my own letter jacket, for me to be president of his fraternity, Phi Sigma Kappa, to be a graduate of his beloved AU, to see his son become chairman emeritus of his alma mater, or to see me here tonight receiving the Pop Cassell Hall of Fame induction. But there is no question that his spirit exists on this campus and that he's been beside me this entire time and is proud of me and my family for our continued service and love for this institution. Thank you very much.